So Rob said, if you have two different job types, you're interested in job seeking, for instance, business analyst or project management type roles, is there times where you'd prepare two separate resumes for those, tailored more specifically to each one? So this is a very good question, and in general, so it can be brought in it or made more. The general case of what you're asking is basically, what's the ratio, like what's, is it good to have tailored resumes for each position that you apply to? And so the answer is that you should. So there's two extremes. So let me I think it's easier to understand when I talk about the extremes. There's two extremes, right? One extreme is somebody that for each position that they apply, they create a brand new resume, like targeting specifically what that job requires. Like if no fat, right? Like they trim out anything that's not relevant. And so like for each position that they apply, they create a new resume, right? Like they customize their resume for that. That's one extreme. The other extreme is somebody, which this is far more common. This extreme that I'm about to explain is far more common. So this is what you see the most. The other extreme is somebody that has everything from like the lemonade stand that they built as a kid, that they ran as a kid. They have everything in one document, in one resume. So like literally everything, like when they worked at McDonald's, lemonade stand, junior, whatever, teacher assistant, everything. And now they're like project manager in like a Big Four or something like that. Right? Well, I don't think a project manager in a Big Four would have a resume like that, but whatever. This hypothetical person does. In the Big Four consulting. So that other extreme, right? So what are the two problems with the two extremes? The problem with the extreme of the person that has everything on their resume, the resume is just too much, and a lot of things that are not relevant to his actual work experience, like relevant work experience right now, or the roles that he's trying to apply to. The problem is bloat, right? Like it's very comfortable for the person. They only have one resume. They don't have to worry about changing anything. So it's like very cost efficient for them. But the bloat will cost them jobs, right? Like it looks bad. Like it makes you look bad. It's not a good look to have resumes like that. Recruiters will probably not think highly of you, right? Like think highly of somebody that has such a cluttered resume. So it's like, yeah, you don't waste time, fixing your resume, like updating and that sort of stuff, and that's very cool. But it's going to make it harder for you to land jobs, right? Then the other extreme is somebody that, like I said, like tailors the resume exactly towards what they're applying to. This extreme is not. It's certainly like more. It's better for the job hunt. Like it's not hurting his chance. As a matter of fact, he's probably increasing his chances of success. The problem is that it's inefficient in the sense like it may not be necessary to be changing the resume for every single position that you have. Sometimes it's better to just have a couple of resumes that target broadly what the position, what the positions require in those fields. Because if you have something that is, if you have some extra requirements that they don't need, but most of the resume is relevant, those extra things, like that fat, it's not going to hurt either. If you and on the other hand, even if you're missing some of the requirements, it's not a death sentence either, right? Like it's something if you can explain, or if the recruiter expects or knows that you have similar experience with something else, it's not necessarily hurting your resume. So if you have the time, you have the energy to be creating resumes for every position that you're going to apply to, knowing that you could be sending out hundreds of applications, then sure, like go for it. I would always advise to not, the other extreme that I talked about, the clutter resume, that's always bad. Like you shouldn't have that. Like you shouldn't have that at any point, right? Like you should make the effort to have a cleaner resume, and that if there's too much, like if there's too much separation between your experience, right? Like if there's too much distance between what you did 5 years ago and what you do now, or what you did 10 years ago, but you still want to target those positions for whatever reason, it's better to just have a separate resumes, right? Like it's like logically separated into career paths, right? Like it's better to do that. It's never good to have the cluttered resume. This one, it's like, I don't necessarily condemn it, right? Like I don't necessarily say like, no, don't do it. But it's like, it's overkill in a sense. It's like too much. It's something like, if you're unemployed, maybe you can invest the time to increase the chances. Like if you're unemployed and single, don't have any other responsibilities, like you just have the time to create resumes after resume after resume after resume, like making changes, that go for it, right? Like it's probably going to increase your chances of landing a job, but it's not really necessary. Like with a couple good resumes, targeting a good shot, like, relevant information of, logically contained, relevant for the career path, that's enough. You don't have to be changing your resume for every application. I don't. I basically use the same resume. I mean, when I say the same resume, obviously I've updated like new skills that I've learned, or like new experiences, new employers, that sort of stuff. But I personally don't target my resumes for specific jobs, right? Like I just, it's pretty much like, well, you take it or leave it. My resume is good enough. It covers a good spread of skills and experiences and tools that people in my area should know. And you can't win them all, right? So, but you can try. I'm not disadvising to not try to win them all.